I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. It just said finished. I'm very confused. But we're back. We're back on here. Y'all join this one. So and we can keep going because I am not stopping. I don't care how long it's gonna take me. All right, you ain't stopping me.
Is when it's mating season or they're coming up with a bunch of eggs. The final odd thing when it comes to minmi are strange hydration habits. Like the modern day camel, it seems that the minmi stores a lot of hydration.
Hi, hello, everybody. I don't know what happened to the previous stream. It just said finish out of nowhere. I don't know what happened to it. I didn't end it. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened. It just like got canceled out of nowhere. I don't know what happened. But we're back.
Which may be a reason why the armor is a lot softer than other ankylosaurs. It seems this may be another feature that was carried over from the in real life minmi, as again, this was a creature found in Australia, and Australia back then was probably a lot hotter than it was today. But that is all I have for you in this episode. Thank you all for watching, and next time we're going to be covering a type of raptor. One that I'm sure a few of you have heard of, maybe some of you haven't, but will definitely leave an impression.
Oh, it's my brother! Yeah, this is like the closest thing to me, guys. We got the Raptor. He a bit of a fake. He a bit of a phony. I don't like him all that much. That's why I left him for Biosyn Valley. I'm sorry. He was just so iffy, you know. He kept talking about what was it? I forgot, but he was like so weird. He was like the fish are in the eye of the pops. I don't know. He was weird.
Remember, if something
Chases you, run. Yeah, common knowledge. Common knowledge. I had to chase. Oh yeah.
Do you take this
I'm getting memories.
to love?
I don't have a wife. What? All right. Let's see what my brother's on about, y'all. Let's see.
An older Dracorex has been taken down by a big predator, a Carcharodontosaurus, a dinosaur which we've seen before and is still fairly thriving here in the Colorado Dinosaur Preserve. It's had its fill though, and for the night it will probably wander away, leaving the kill for the morning where it will come back to it, as it has marked this territory with its scent. But that doesn't necessarily stop anything from coming to check out.
You see, this like I don't know what was wrong with him. My cousin was such a thief. Like one time he stole like one of my feathers. And it was like, nah man, I'm gatekeeping this for like $60. $60 ain't even that much. Like I could probably repurchase that. Like no biggie. Calm down.
Sight. A thieving predator has wandered here by the scent of rotting flesh.
You see, he's trying to be me so bad. He doesn't even have feathers. I don't really like these raptors all that much. Like, you know, there hasn't even been that many raptors. That just proves that I'm the superior. What can I say? I'm more elite.
Less about the Carcharodontosaurus. That's quite unusual behavior, especially for a theropod. So what kind of predator would do this? An Austroraptor would.
Yeah, you ugly, dude. I'm sorry.
A raptor from Cretaceous Argentina, this is known to be one of the largest dromaeosaurs ever found. The Indian
Yeah, right.
variety grows up to about 500 pounds and 15.
Never mind. You chilling.
Feet in length. And this is roughly the same estimates that paleontologists thought when they originally found the bones of Austroraptor. But by far the most unusual thing about it that you probably already noticed is its snout. No other dromaeosaur has a snout quite like the Austro.
Yeah, he was a bit of a uniqueling. He was a bit of a unique. He always told me his mom was she wasn't the greatest person she could be. She wasn't the greatest. He said she was you know, getting diverse with like a lot of Spinosaurs, a lot of them.
raptors. For whatever reason, it is much longer than any other raptor previously discovered. What makes it even more bizarre is that Austroraptor, again, is considered one of the bigger dromaeosaurs. So why does one of the larger kinds of these dinosaurs have such a weak and long jaw? Other large...
Because he is weak, bro. There's really nothing about it. That's just how he is. He's weak. He's not as elite as something like me. You can tell he's not as developed. Like, if you were to look at me, which just look at my profile. I mean, I have like a more compact skull. It's like it's a lot stronger. I got better abilities. You know.
Raptors like Utah Raptor and Dakota Raptor have much larger and powerful jaws. But due to Engine bringing this species back, we've learned a little bit more about why the Austroraptor may be the way it is. So despite their large size, Austroraptors are not apex predators as you might think they are. Instead,
why would this thing be an apex for all? No, I should be the apex predator. I should be. I should be one of the largest dromaeosaurs. I am Steve.
They much rather being scavengers. As we saw before, the Carcharodontosaurus are looking down with their legs, and after the Carchar left, the Austro comes in with a quick scoop and takes it.
See, he's such a thief, dude. Listen, a predator like me would never do such a thing. I hunt my own food, I get my own bag, I get my own meal, and I get my own stuff. This dude just takes it all. You could say he literally just like took my credit as if it was like an actual like an actual physical object. It's crazy.
It mainly uses its jaws to hold its prey down, while the legs do most of the work pulling back and taking out bits and chunks of flesh. The teeth of Austroraptor are very, very pointy, so meat will get stuck on them fairly easily, and then the creature can eat afterwards. Notably, they also have a very keen sense of smell, so rotting flesh comes very easy to them. Predators like the Carcharodontosaurus will leave their scents in their kill sites to make sure other scavengers like the Austroraptor do not come around. But the Austroraptor does not seem to be deterred whatsoever.
See, man, he's like so cocky and confident. Like, I legit told him that sauropods were not to be messed with. What did I catch him doing? Attacking a Dreadnoughtus. You see, I don't like him much.
We still don't really know why, but it seems that the Austroraptor mainly does this due to the fact that it's kind of cocky. It's not bothered by many things.
See, that's what I mean. I told y'all. He's like just so big and bad. Like, oh, look at me. Like, okay, dude. Okay, all right. We get it. You're big.
However, it doesn't seem to have a real sense of danger to it. To most dinosaurs, this would be a very unfortunate thing to have, but for the Austroraptor, it really has benefited actually from this. It's gotten a lot of sources of food before, and hasn't really seemed to pay any sort of consequence for us. This isn't to say the creature isn't cautious. Obviously, we talked about the great sense of smell earlier, and the eyesight on the Austroraptor seems to be pretty damn good too. All of these things seem to make it quite an effective hunter. Engine themselves has even said that the Austroraptor is probably the deadliest species of dromaeosaur that they've ever created.
Okay, I may have slept on my cousin a bit. Maybe.
Even though it's not as fatal as other dinosaurs like the Velociraptor, it seems that the Austroraptor outweighs it by its sense of smell, its eyes, and overall just its general personality. Engine is thought to have cloned the species somewhere back in the early 2000s, and some records even say that it might have been in the late 90s, which makes the Austroraptor one of the many dinosaurs that is supposedly an illegal clone. And one last thing to note about the Austroraptor is that when many people saw it, they thought it was actually a hybrid dinosaur between...
You see, yeah, he was a bit funky looking.
A Spinosaurus and some sort of raptor. Many people believed it was the alleged Spinoraptor, a hybrid which engine supposedly cloned, but we don't have much backing for it at this time. So upon seeing a large raptor with a very long Spinosaur-like snout, many people assumed, oh wait, this must be it. But alas, no hybrid. Just one of the best predators that InGen ever created. But that is all I have on the Australian raptor. Next time we'll be talking about a similarly sized dinosaur, but this one is much more boneheaded. But as always, remember...
Boneheaded? Is it dumb?
If something chases you...
Run. Yikes-a-rama. Get a drama.
Monohydrochloride.
Right. Doom, doom. Doom, doom. Right.
Starting off the episode with some good news, a baby Tyrannosaurus was found in California this week. So now we know that this species is not actually extinct, but is still alive.
Aww.
With that said, we'll now move into the subject of today's video, a dinosaur which is pretty famous amongst the community, the boneheaded
Cuddy, is it? Oh.
Pachycephalosaurus. This dinosaur was originally from the Hell Creek Formation in North America.
Yeah.
The same formation that Tyrannosaurus rex, Triceratops, and other many famous dinosaurs came from.
Yeah.
But despite being from the Hell Creek Formation and being one of the more famous InGen clones, there isn't a ton of information about it. We don't know the year it was cloned, but we do know that it was held on Isla Sorna for quite a while until the 2000s when Jurassic World was in early development. An exhibit was made for it when the park opened in 2005 and stayed open until 2015 when the park of course shut down. The feature that most identifies the Pachycephalosaurus is its large circular dome. This dome is made of 6-inch thick bone and is used against predators, other pachycephalosaurs, or really whatever it deems as a threat. It's even been seen doing this against vehicles in certain instances, and yeah, it will absolutely crush them. But despite the reputation, they are not these terrible monsters. They are actually fairly nice herbivores and only attack when they are threatened. But when they need to come off as threatening, they don't have any trouble with it.
Alright. What did I do? Cuddy, don't you hit me.
Sometime later, our drone turned back on, and the Pachycephalosaurus was still there, investigating it. It seems that despite their aggressive nature sometimes, these creatures are fairly docile and are curious. Pachycephalosaurs have a fairly reasonable diet for a herbivore. They mainly like fruits, nuts, and other vegetation, although researchers found out they have a particular love for oranges for whatever reason. However, despite all the nice things about them, Pachycephalosauruses are exceedingly rare. Currently in a farm in Minnesota, there is one last remaining Pachycephalosaurus specimen that we at least know of, which is rather sad because the Pachycephalosauruses are very social creatures. Currently, she is living in an old ranch, although the owners have said that they plan on actually putting more dinosaurs in here if the state requires it. And although she is lonely, at least she is not in harm's way from any other predators. The green jungles of Sorna house many dangers, like the infamous Spinosaurus, the wily Ceratosaurus, and many others. But this
Albertosaurus
will only have to worry about the competition for plants and leaves, because this farm has said that they will only take in herbivores. But still, it is somewhat sad.
So y'all are dietists. Why won't y'all let me in the ranch, okay? I'm a bit into farm life. You never know. I just love eating. I mean, I just love the agriculture. Yeah. I just love eating the veg. I mean, you know what I'm saying.
See, this is the last Pachycephalosaurus that the world will ever know. But thank you all for watching this episode of InGen Dinosaur Profile. Next time we will be talking about another small dinosaur, but this one is not alone, and that is not for the better. And ending on that note, remember, if something
chases you, run. Like I've been saying, it never gets old. It never gets old. It's very basic. Come on. All right, my rap session is on. All right, I'm finna scan, like, if y'all would stay with me for a bit. I'm finna scan through like every other videos we have. Wait, okay, so one, two, wait no, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. Wait, hold on. Sorry. One, two, three, four. Is that? Yeah. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's me. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. I don't know exactly. Maybe I'm miscounting. I'm not sure. Let's just wrap this up. We're getting closer to the end.
A dead-end Pelosaurus has been here since last week, and scavengers have been tearing through it. Right now, an Ornitholestes has claimed the corpse. However, when it starts to get dusk like this, there's a lot of other scavengers that come out of the woodwork at night to try and feed. The Ornitholestes has some competition, although it isn't too major usually. But tonight will be different, for competition is coming. But it's much different than any that Ornitholestes has faced yet. The ever-strange Solurus.
Bro looks so ugly. I'm sorry. What's with all these chopped dinosaurs? He's got red head feathers. He is trying to be me so bad, bro. Oh my gosh.
This tiny predator travels in groups of 2 to 5, with strange patterns and even more bizarre behaviors. The Solurus is pretty well known for being somewhat of a unicorn amongst the dinosaur community. One of the earlier engine clones, only a handful of these creatures were made, and a few of them have died since then, obviously. But despite its rarity, the Ornitholestes is at first somewhat worried. However, the Ornitholestes and Solurus have a specific bond, and it's one of the many peculiar things about the animal that will
W friendship. They locked in, all right.
We'll dive into. You see, there's a very complex process when it comes to the Ornitholestes taking down kills. Ornitholestes possess venom, meaning whenever they're tearing into a carcass, it now is somewhat poisoned. But Soluruses seem to have a natural tolerance to this poisoning and can still eat the carcass alongside the Ornitholestes.
Alright.
Since the carcass is now poisoned, it means that no other predator can really touch it. And the Soluruses provide protection to the Ornitholestes, creating a symbiotic relationship between the two of them. It's very likely, since Ornitholestes and Solurus actually did share an environment in real life, that this was possibly a relationship that carried on in the prehistoric era as well. Many paleontologists for a while even thought that Solurus was dubious with Ornitholestes, considering they have a very similar body plan. Although real-life studies have showed, of course, that Solurus is a little bit different. But maybe this would explain how these two creatures got along in real life. Instead of working against each other, they worked with each other. But this leads to a few more questions, like if they did coexist in real life and this symbiotic relationship was a real-life occurrence, then how do they build up the tolerance to the venom? If you guys remember, the Ornitholestes has snake DNA in it. Venomous snake DNA in it, meant to fill in the gaps left in the genome. So if it's an engine attribute, then why does the Solurus have a tolerance? There isn't anything in the Solurus's DNA that would prevent it from being affected by the venom. This has led to a lot of speculation in the paleontology community, as well as people who just follow these dinosaurs to see why in the hell the Solurus is somehow immune.
I guess you could say they're walking with dinosaurs. And that's a series if y'all don't know.
People believe that the Ornitholestes may have just had some sort of venom in real life, and that the snakes really didn't change much. And that seems like a likely theory, but I won't get too far into it because we're talking about the Solurus in this episode. Back onto them, Soluruses have a very weird behavior that involves greeting each other. To do so, Soluruses roll around in the dirt, and a lot of people think this is a way for them to say to other Soluruses that, hey, this is me, I'm part of your group. The dirt...
Y'all have to roll in dirt to recognize each other? Oh my gosh.
Coat also works as a sort of bug repellent. You see, Solarises, as they are scavengers, will get a lot of bugs that flourish around them trying to eat the dead meat off their teeth or just
Makes
the
sense.
corpses around them. So, to fight this, the Solarises will roll around in mud or dry dirt as a sort of repellent, like I said earlier. Not only does it work as an extra coat, but it also works as a sort of crushing mechanism. If the bugs are attached to the Solaris' skin, all they need to do is quickly roll around in the dirt, and boom, they're dead. As a real-life correlation, some birds are known to do things similar, but none do it to the extent that the Solaris does. Funnily enough, Solarises have actually been seen trying to pick birds out of the sky by jumping up and trying to grab them. Similar to the Gallimimus that we covered earlier this season, it seems that creatures like Solaris have some sort of social circle which involves hierarchies of established members in their little groups. This Solaris possesses an alpha-like role. Earlier it was the first one to eat and did not let any of the other creatures nearby eat until it...
So it's a jerk. Okay, listen, I don't know what's with all these jerk alphas, personally. If I was the alpha of a pack, I would let all my subordinates eat first. Okay, that may be cap.
This is also the only Solaris out of the two that has feathers, which probably means either some form of sexual dimorphism or an alpha-like status, or both. Possibly like a male lion's mane, it's possible the feathers are a form of symbolism to show...
That's interesting. I like this. This is... You see, I don't really have that much commentary sometimes because I low-key get invested in this. Like, this is literally a series about one of my favorite things. This is like basically a series about my kind. How do you not expect me to get invested in this?
Dominance amongst its pack members. But that's all I have on the Curious Solaris. Thank you all for watching this episode, and next time we're going to be looking at a Ceratopsian that has a lot of oddities behind it. But until then, remember,
if something chases you, run. Alright, bet. Okay, I'm not crying.
Come on, man. A smile?
This is me smiling.
Oh boy.
Alright.
If patients use Pronamel clinical enamel strand.
You see, now I'm getting these ads again. I take care of my enamel, okay? Jeez. I got the most elite teeth.
It will actually help to protect the enamel for a lifetime.
In the Upper Great Plains of South Dakota, a very curious dinosaur has been spotted. A type of Ceratopsian which many people are probably familiar with. However, there is a lot more underneath the surface of this creature. One of the rarest clones to be known, the Chasmosaurus. Now, Chasmosaurus is not that interesting of a clone at first glance. It's got very bright colors, but other than that, it looks like the stereotypical build for a Ceratopsian. But this dinosaur was never even supposed to be cloned in the first place. Originally, it was intended to be a Pentaceratops. InGen thought the bones they received were of a juvenile, but instead they were of a completely different species, the Chasmosaur. They were accidentally cloned back in the 90s, making them an illegal clone. But unlike the other illegal clones, the Chasmosaur was a complete accident. InGen realized pretty quickly they had screwed up, so they quickly threw out the genome, which is one of the key factors as to why the Chasmosaur is as rare as it is. Even though you could recreate it using your own genome, the InGen Chasmosaurus' genome is no longer here. Therefore, we can never recreate it truly how InGen did. After a lot of blood work to see if the DNA matches what we know of the InGen Chasmosaur, a lot of experts have been called in to see what we can find out about this creature. Original documents written by Henry Wu himself show that the Chasmosaur was very solitary. It's not very aggressive towards its other herd members, but it really doesn't like being around them, at least according to Henry. But Dr. Wu also noted that it was very adjustable to its environment. Dirt and grass plains, forests, tundras, the Chasmosaur liked them all. We found this one out in a dirt desert. However, she is quickly moving north. But she is gentle enough to let us get a good look at her very pretty scale. While it may seem that these colors might stand out a little...
Hey, yo, why are you glazing the Chasmoceratops? Hey, I'm all for the, like, hey, what, hey, listen, buddy. Yeah, you better glaze me like this. I'm coming up, so you better. do something.
But too much, especially if this creature's trying to camouflage. Some people think this might be the exact opposite. The Chasmosaurus is trying to stand out to tell predators to not mess with it, even though it really doesn't have that great of defenses. So to compromise, it goes out into the very large forest nearby as a sort of cover system for the night. And hopefully we will meet up again with her the next morning.
Alright, let's hope you don't die. That felt so dark. I'm so sorry.
And thankfully, on the other side of the forest, next to a large abandoned factory, we find her again. And this time we get to get a good look at her grazing. As well as that, we have a scientist on our way out here, but we'll get back to that in a minute. While the nighttime dusk made it a little bit harder to see, you can now really gaze upon the amazing color scheme that this Chasmosaurus has in the daytime. If you look upon its frill, there is a large striped outline of what seems to be a Chasmosaurus. Our drone may have got a little bit too close, so the Chasmosaurus stands in a very strange defense posture, probably to show off its large frill and again its mesmerizing colors. It's most likely intended for Cretaceous predators instead of a measly drone though. Thankfully, this is the first dinosaur that South Dakota has seen in about a year, so no theropods will be hunting this Chasmosaur today. Despite the large size of its frill, it's mainly taken up by openings in the crest. In fact, the name Chasmosaurus means opening lizard. You may also notice that this Chasmosaurus only has
Oh, someone said a hi. Hello. I don't know how recent that was, but hi.
Nose horn, despite other specimens in the fossil record having 3. Well, this might actually be a difference in sexual orientation. Because this is a female Chasmosaur, it's possible that the males were the ones that possessed the 3 horns. This is an interesting study that is still going on. It is mainly being pushed by a Dr. Sarah Harding. We talked with her earlier about some of the strange things we've noticed about the Ceratopsian ourselves, and here's what she had to say about it.
We've been seeing a lot of unusual behavior in these guys, and that's what we've been trying to understand. You know, you look at deers, goats, or any animal really, and you'll see some strange things they do. So it's really not that unusual for them to be.
Imagine a Chasmoceratops just climbs a tree. You think they would do that in real life? I mean, hey, you never know.
Unusual.
Despite their shy and timid nature, Sarah was lucky enough to get close to feed this Chasmosaurus. Sarah really wants to figure out why the Chasmosauruses are as solitary as they are, and why they don't like to clump up together in large herds like other herbivores. Dr. Harding has spent 5 years researching ceratopsians and all the strange behaviors they have, and she really, really likes the Chasmosaurus. As she calls it, it is her white whale.
We think part of the reason they're so rare is because they aren't very outgoing. They don't really have a mating season like other animals.
So y'all don't even breed? How do y'all survive? How are y'all surviving in the wild? Y'all are not. Y'all suck. I'm sorry. Listen. I'd be danged if I don't have no mating season. How am I gonna breed? How am I finna continue on my generation when I die? Think, guys. How am I supposed to? Okay, I'm not finna rant. We got several more to go.
A second one to see how they'd interact.
And I'm sure many of us would agree, Dr. Harding. All of us would love to see the mysteries that the Chasmosaur has untold. But that's all I have for the...
I like the Chasmoceratops. I frick with him. I frick with her. Not like that. Ooh, oh my gosh.
This episode of InGen Dinosaur Profile. Thank you all for watching, and next time we're going to be taking a look at an equally odd...
Alright, let's get it.
Until then, remember...
If something chases you, run. Common knowledge. Alright, let's get through this ad and then we'll do the thing.
Smurfs rated PG.
Need a career? Don't overpay for a 4-year degree. Get skills that pay.
I am a...
Skills jobs are in demand.
I've said it many times. Let's just go. Alright.
In Colorado, a dinosaur which we are pretty familiar with shows its face again, the Australoraptor.
My cousin.
Before it was stalking the grounds of the Colorado Dinosaur Preserve, it was out here in the wild, stalking other things. Like the subject
What
of
you doing,
today's
cousin?
video, the Scutosaurus, a large Permian herbivore that has
Easy
been
game.
stalking the grounds for millions and millions of years, and of course was brought back by an engine. But despite all that, Is the Scutosaurus successful enough to get away from an Australoraptor?
I don't know. Let's see.
Despite
Cousin,
being a scavenger,
you better redeem
in desperate times, any predator will go for something quite unusual. The Australoraptor has a pretty good sense of smell, and Scutosauruses are pretty well known for not being a very pleasant-smelling animal, so it was only natural to come here first. She's about ready to attack.
All right.
It only takes a few moments for the Scutosaurus to finally realize that it is being watched. But the Scutosaurus doesn't have to do much, for it is a walking shield, as you will quickly see.
Oh! Cousin, you suck! You're getting beat up! Survive! Oh!
The Scutosaurus wins this dispute. It might not be its last, but it will definitely win another day. As for the Australoraptor, this hunt was unsuccessful, but it will find more success in the Colorado Dinosaur Preserve, soon to be its permanent home. But this is just another day for the Scutosaurus. Sadly, it has to live in a world where a lot of predators think it's an easy target because it's a smaller animal. But our Scutosaurus was a Permian success story, as besides the very large predators that had bone-crushing jaws that it had to worry about, the Scutosaurus was practically a living tank. Combined with the fact that Engine used rhino DNA to fill in the gaps for the Scutosaurus, its skin is practically impenetrable. In fact, evolution seems to be so cocky about this fact that they've given the Scutosaurus a very, very bright color scheme. Most of the varieties we've seen have been orange, blue, and white. However, despite the bright colors, Scutosauruses are not immune to danger. Many poachers like their large tusks because, similar to elephants, they are made of ivory. But many protection organizations have set up shop around here recently, specifically to protect this Scutosaurus. He is a larger than normal male, so he would be a very valuable target to those willing to hunt him. But these precious tusks have a very important use. They are used for digging up seeds. Large weed seeds, specifically under the ground, are its favorite. It can take a solid half hour for it to actually finally dig out one of these seeds, but once it does, it's well worth it. For the Scutosaurus, they are a very beloved snack. Once it's dug up the treat, it will do something kind of peculiar, but for a Scutosaurus it makes sense. It will bash into it. The soft innards are a very tasty snack for the Scutosaurus. They're also very high in nutrients for it as well. The parts that it doesn't eat, it buries back underground so it can repeat the cycle again. And it repeats this process about 8 times per day, meaning that it usually eats 8 seeds. But if there's ever a shortage, Scutosauruses have a system that's very efficient. They will rub over the seeds that they have just planted.
R.I.P. the ants, by the way. They're just getting trampled.
Other Scutosauruses can smell the scent of a newly planted seed and then come and eat it again. For an animal basically built like a cow, you wouldn't have thought they were so intelligent, would you? Digging up 8 seeds per day requires a very powerful physique, so the Scutosauruses usually are very, very strong, and those who aren't strong enough usually don't survive very long. If you also look at their eyes, you can see that they have large patches of blue around them, which many people think is actually a way to block out the sun. Raccoons use a similar method with their eyes, but the question is, why would the Scutosaurus need that? The Permian era was very arid, so many paleontologists believe the reason they have these large eye spots is to block out the sun, which back then was much...
I really don't have anything like to critique about this, because like this is not even... This doesn't come off as... This is like just like actually something, like, you know... Alright, let's see how many episodes we got after this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Hold up. I'm gonna go back just in case. 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. 31 more to go, dude. I can't believe we're wrapping this up. I am so proud. Thank y'all. I'll have something to say at the end of this.
much more prominent than it is today. I hope you enjoyed these nice little facts of the Scutosaurus.
Yeah,
Thank you all
I
for
did.
watching today's episode, and next time we'll be talking about a much different animal, something completely different, something a little bit more green. And as always, remember, if
Something chases you, run. Ooh, deepened up a bit. Hey guys, it's me.
Now there's no reason not to floss. Take control
Alright,
of water pick cord.
lock in. I do not care about my enamel. My enamel is fine. I'll have you know it is one of the most elite things I have ever. Okay.
Heard about Royal Kingdom?
I'll stop talking over that and give y'all a break. Alright.
Recently, we have found a baby Majungasaurus in Madagascar, of all places.
Bruh, the ants are just getting violated repeatedly. Oh my gosh. First, it was like the Scutosaurus rolling over on them, and now this baby Majungasaurus is just eating a whole entire ant mound.
So, there's a little bit of good news to start the
Oh,
episode.
gosh.
But going back to the United States, we meet up in Louisiana, where a very interesting dinosaur lives.
Alright.
It's a Spinosaur, to no one's surprise. But one of the peculiar-looking ones we've ever came across, but intriguing, Ichthyovenator.
Ooh.
But first, we have to find this incredibly lush
Doug, who do you think I am? Dora the Explorer?
swamp. If we set up a camera long enough, it'll probably come to us. And after
Oh.
throwing in a little bit of chum smell, it seems to have done the job. A sick, not so pearly whites quickly become interested in us. But these jaws have contributed a lot, especially to paleontology. Many people for years have debated on whether or not spinosaurs are aquatic or how aquatic they are, and the Ichthyovenator kind of proved a point about all that. The Ichthyovenator is somewhat of an opportunist. It'll eat pretty much anything that gets in its way whenever it feels hungry. It's been seen eating fish, alligators, snakes, and even livestock. So anything that gets close to the water or already lives in it is pretty much on the Ichthyovenator's menu. Many paleontologists also apply this opportunist mindset to all spinosaurs, although I personally disagree. And other paleontologists seem to agree with me, thinking that spinosaurs are much more diverse than applying one mindset to all of them.
Yeah.
But moving away from that, you've probably noticed the very odd spine on the
Yeah.
Ichthyovenator. Many people for a long time thought this was a misfiguration, but instead this is actually a part of the creature. We believe that this is also another form of sexual dimorphism, much like the Chasmosaurus we talked about not too long ago.
Yeah, I
And
think it was
similar
like-
to the Chasmosaurus, the Ichthyo is very, very green. So green, in fact, that it actually prefers these tropical swampy environments so it can camouflage better. We tracked this one for a total of 2 weeks, though, and it didn't seem to really go after anything. This might mean they can go a long period of time without actually going for food, but it did guard its territory with much persistence. Anytime we tried to get a drone in there, usually it would chase it away after a few seconds. But this territory does come with a few issues, a few maintenance problems, if you will. Traveling these swamps can bring up a lot of muck. This
Alright.
Ichthyovenator is covered in it. Now, this can work as very good camouflage, but it can also slow the creature down. But every day they do a continuous cleaning session so that the next day they won't have all the muck on them. But this little cleaning session is usually towards the end of the day, as it does use the moss to cover up itself. Although it prefers deeper water, sometimes the Ichthyovenator will come into the shallows to see if anything is hiding under the shadows of trees. So
Alright.
got this one checking up during the evening, but it obviously wasn't a very big fan of us being there. They will stiffen up and hiss whenever they feel threatened.
I'm gonna try and recreate it, y'all. Never doing that again.
Another thing we found out about a lot of spinosaurs is how vocal they are, and the
Alright.
Ichthyovenator is a perfect example. 3 of them in this swamp alone seem to communicate by very long distance calls.
Ooh.
These seem to be a mixture of hisses, roars, and anything in between. Since we've noticed
Oh.
this, we've also noticed that Ichthyovenator is not the only spinosaur to call out like this. Many others, like the Siamosaurus, the Suchomimus, and the Baryonyx, do similar things. But the study all started with the Ichthyovenator. We really did hope to see it in action taking down something, though, because something a lot of paleontologists are curious about is the large curvature it has in its jaw. You've probably noticed the small nook by now where
Yeah.
its 2 front teeth sit, and this is not something that InGen added. This is completely unique to the creature, and we don't know why it has this. There is no real reason that it should possess this trait. A lot of scientists have studied the jaws, and it seems that this does not benefit them at all in hunting. Maybe it's something to do with mating, but since we only only have a few male specimens, we will really never know. The final thing to touch on when it comes to this Spinosaur is its massively oversized hands. They would look more fitting on a bear than they would a dinosaur. The environment around them suggests that they lived with a lot of other large dinosaurs like iguanodontids and sauropods, so maybe it used these large claws to hunt them down. It may have possibly been an ambush predator and hunted from the shores and shallows, waiting underneath the waves for a creature to get too close to the water, where it would then grab them with these large hands and drag them back down. But unfortunately, there is no dinosaurs that live in Louisiana alongside the Ichthyovenator. It is the only one at this point in time. However, recent news has arose that the Ichthyovenator will be moved into the Colorado Dinosaur Preserve, so maybe we will see something after all one day. But that's it for this episode of Engine Dinosaur Profile. I hope you all enjoyed, and next time we're going to be looking at another Ceratopsian. However, as always, remember, if something chases you,
Run! Alright. We ended it right now.
Keep your relationship with nature thriving. Separately.
When Superman is off saving the day, DQ is here with a $7 meal deal. Now with a $2 small.
Sweet. No, stop.
alone at midnight, we see an Ionosaurus, a
All
type
right.
of ceratopsian that roams the Colorado Dinosaur Preserve. This clone has only been known of for roughly a year now, and it's unsure if Engine created it or possibly some other company. This strange herbivore was originally found in California, of all places, and since California is kind of well known for their dinosaur sightings, it's surprising that this was the first time we had ever seen the creature. But as it turns out, the Ionosaurus is actually a nocturnal herbivore, which is pretty damn rare. Most herbivorous animals are out during the day to avoid predators. However, this one seems to actually prefer the night. And so far this tactic works okay because there isn't a ton of nocturnal predators in the Colorado Dinosaur Preserve. Most of them have learned to hunt during the day because that's when the herbivores think they will be safe. So the Ionosaurus kind of pulled a little bit of reverse psychology.
Ooh.
But that's all we really know about the Ionosaurus. Besides the fact that this specimen is an older female, there really isn't a ton to it. We only have one specimen of it. It's nocturnal, so that adds a little bit more difficulty to everything, and let alone we've only known about it for only a year. We don't know a ton about its dietary habits, we don't know of any sort of mating season or anything of that nature. We only know that it's very, very antisocial, which actually makes for two ceratopsians this season that really don't like traveling in herds. One thing many scientists are very curious about is its odd nasal horn, which is one of the first cases we've seen of any kind of pigmentation in them. The black and blue stripes are something we haven't seen in any other sort of ceratopsian before, so it's very curious that the Ionosaurus has it. It also leads...
This is very odd. Actually, I don't think there hasn't even been any real ceratopsians grouping up in herds. The Diabloceratops was a jerk. The Cosmoceratops was an even bigger jerk. The only real chill guys we've seen of the is the Titanoceratops and Pentaceratops.
The question that if this is a female Ionosaurus, what elaborate displays did the males have? This is an odd fact that we'll have to look into further in our research. But there's one last thing to note about the Ionosaurus, and it's probably the weirdest fact of all when it comes to it. It follows the moon. For whatever reason...
Excuse me?
And the Ionosaurus always seems to follow the direction the moon is facing. It'll follow that direction until, of course, the moon sets and the sun rises, to which the Ionosaurus will then sleep. And we have absolutely no idea why the Ionosaur does this. It never really seems to establish any sort of territory, so maybe...
The music? That'd be a jump scare or something? We're near the end of the video, so it could be. Is it like settling me, or is this like actually just like... This seems pretty chill.
What indicates that for it. Maybe it uses the moon as a navigational tool, but we really need more research into the subject to find out anything. Either way, you've got to admit, the way the moon glistens off the scales of this animal makes for a very beautiful sight. But tell me what you guys think about this very odd animal in the
This is pretty cool. I like him. Or her.
comment section down below. Do you think he uses the moon as navigation, or possibly it's an alien? Well, either way...
Alien, imagine. Bro, just like flies back up into a spaceship.
Thank you all for watching. watching, and next time we'll be talking about a very large pterosaur. But until then, remember,
It's been a good minute until we covered a pterosaur. The last one was like, I don't know. These ones are shuffled or something. They're like disappearing or something. I have no idea what's happening. I'm so sorry. I don't know what's going on. I'm so sorry. But after, all right, after we got 1, 2, 3, 4 episodes, and then we'll get me. And then after me, we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. 24 more to go, guys. We are almost done. Personally, I'm excited. I am excited. I'm so happy. We're almost done with this.
something chases you.
Run. Good stuff, man.
I may not be the best at mornings, but go-go squeeze yogurt is something I always get right. Made with 100% real milk.
Alright.
Whenever heartburn strikes, get fast relief with Tums.
Dum-da-dum-dum-dum. Alright. We're here, Geo Sternbergia.
When we finished filming for the Apatosaurus episode, we quickly came across another very interesting creature in the area, the Geosternbergia. Previously thought to be a species of pteranodon, this pterosaur actually turns out to be far different. While both lived on Isla Sorna, the Geosternbergia managed to drive the pteranodon into extinction by outperforming it. Suddenly, it was now the only pterosaur on the island. But quickly, as the species grew, it quickly became a nuisance to the Costa Rican government, so they had to wipe out the creature entirely almost. Only a few specimens remained, and the numbers were never as great to get the population back up as far as it was. So to see a Geosternbergia out in the wild is incredibly rare, obviously. This is a male Geosternbergia, and you can tell due to the crest on his head. Many specimens of female Geosternbergia have also been found, but the males are probably the most recognizable. The males notably grow much larger, having a wingspan of almost 28 feet. Due to its large size, the Geosternbergia is considered somewhat of an apex predator of the skies. While usually having a piscivore diet, this is in the middle of North Dakota, so there isn't a ton of lakes and rivers for it to choose from. So, a nearby dinosaur will have to do. Iguanodon Baratheon. Specifically a juvenile of the species, which will be a lot easier to take down.
Watch your kid. Oh, no. It's about to hit us.
The male hasn't eaten in a while, so this will serve as a nice snack. The Iguanodon mother is completely unaware, although to be fair to her, it's from above, and she isn't really used to anything attacking her from there, let alone her baby, which follows behind very closely. It is learned that by its mother it's usually safe. However, today it will be different.
No!
The baby is down pretty quickly, and the Geo must make a hasty escape. Once the Geo is in the sky, the mother is basically helpless. The baby is now the Geo's prey. Once the Geo is a good enough distance away, it drops the baby from afar so that it will drop to the ground and be dead once it lands. And once it does land, it's quite a bizarre sight indeed. Pterosaurs, being natural airborne creatures, are quite strange to look at whenever they're on the ground. But Geosternbergia is no better to stay here for very long. Usually whenever they do land, it's only for 30 minutes or less because of their striking color scheme, which can attract larger predators. It'll soon quickly get to work on the corpse and finish it within a matter of minutes, and then go hibernate for a while, as believe it or not, Geosternbergias actually don't eat that much. Despite their larger size, especially in the males, they typically don't eat whenever they don't need to. This is also why they take down smaller prey instead of going for larger things like big fish in the ocean. Although this is only what we theorize about it. You see, like many animals this season, the Geosternbergia is one with not a lot of information on it. Info is scarce, and sightings are even rarer. That's why it was incredibly special for us to see one. Many people refer to the Geo as the eagle of pterosaurs, and it's a pretty fitting name. With its striking size, its loud and bright colors, and of course, its noble appearance, the Geosternbergia earned the respect. But that's all I have for this episode of Binge Dinosaur Profile. Even though this isn't a dinosaur, I'm still glad we managed to get footage of it so we can put out an episode for you guys. Next time we'll be covering another icon, but until then, remember, if something chases you,
Run. Alright. We're closing in. I'm just muting that, dude. I'm just muting it because I don't like that one that much. I don't like that ad. I don't like it. I don't like ads in general. Alright. Short little rerun. Let's see how many episodes we got now. So after this one we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. 27 more to go. We are almost there. It's truly astonishing. It's truly astonishing. Alright. Here we go.
Next to some old pipes out in Maryland, we find a very rare dinosaur to come across, the Ankylosaurus, but specifically the Isla Sorna variant. It's incredibly uncommon to see one, however, this is a case where one popped up, and of course we had to jump on the opportunity as soon as possible. Thankfully, these Ankylosaurs don't blend into their environment very well, but they really don't have to. Most Ankylosaurs don't actually fit in, but this is for a reason. While some animals use camouflage as a defense, the Ankylosaurus is literally a walking defense itself. It would have absolutely no reason to blend into the environment because at the end of the day, it just needs to stick out and seem like it's not a very appetizing meal. So many Ankylosaurs opted for having very, very strong armor on their body to defend themselves against larger predators. Ankylosaurs specifically lived with dinosaurs like the Tyrannosaurus rex, which would have been very dangerous to live alongside of, especially if you're a herbivore, but the Ankylosaurus made it work. Compared to the predator, it's basically at the perfect level to knock a T-Rex's legs and ankles out, so it would practically be useless. Now, Tyrannosaurs did evolve bone-breaking jaws, but even the armor of Ankylosaurs is known to be stronger. But nothing is more prominent about Ankylosaurs than the fact that they've impacted the world we know more than any other dinosaur currently. Many dinos have caused issues worldwide, but the Ankylosaurus is probably one of the most widespread. It's been spotted on 5 continents, and due to its size, it competes with a lot of livestock. For example, this one was discovered next to a pipework field, and the entire company had to leave the area for quite a while due to the fact it's illegal to work around dinosaurs. Many have notoriously caused a lot of dollars in damage to local civilian areas. There have been dozens of cases where Ankylosauruses have been seen breaking into farms and eating crops, and Ankylosaurs carry a lot of diseases on them, surprisingly, for such a mundane looking animal, and that results in that entire section of crops being contaminated. Many people are actively trying to work to get this dinosaur either in locations like the Colorado Dinosaur Preserve or the Portuguese Preserve, places like that, so it's out of the public's reach, or more, that it's not reaching into the public. The effort is still ongoing, but it's a very difficult one. Ankylosaurs lay the biggest clutch of eggs that we know any herbivore does, going up to about 30. Some states are even trying to pass laws that make it legal to kill Ankylosaurs, although there's a lot of people actually fighting against that as well. It's a difficult mission, but
why would you really want to kill this thing, though? How can you kill it? I mean, I guess you just gotta go for the underbelly, but, like, can you?
One that is possible. A lot of progression has been made, and
the best thing I could see is like kind of like rolling a grenade under its belly, and it just like blows up its stomach and vitals.
For
So.
the about 5 years the Titosaurus have been around, there have been substantially less sightings as the years go on. This is only the second Ankylosaurus found in 2023, so that's pretty good news. Considering in 2022, 40 new Ankylosauruses were found, this is a very, very large drop. In fact, the number of sightings going down is so large that a lot of people have speculated that it might actually be an issue. If you remember those diseases I talked about earlier, some people actually think that coronavirus might be one that's affecting the ankylosaurs. You see, 3 of the specimens found last year, and the first...
Did this take place in coronavirus? I mean, maybe? I'm not really sure. Was coronavirus, like, still a bit of a thing in 2023? I don't think it was. I think it was just, like, mostly 2022 or 2021 it was a problem. I don't really remember coronavirus all that much. I think it's, like... I don't even think coronavirus is a thing anymore. I'm gonna have to check it out. Like, I mean, maybe there is, like, just, like, a tad bit. Like, maybe, like, if you, like, really, really try and, like, if it, like, for whatever reason, like, you really, really try, you could probably still get coronavirus. I just don't think it's, like, still much as a problem as it was, like, back in, like, some, like, 2021 and 2022. Oh.
Specimen found this year had coronavirus. 2 of those...
How are you a dinosaur when you get coronavirus? That reminds me of like, you know, them dinosaurs that died horrible deaths. Yeah, I think I reacted to that. I don't know which one it was, but I reacted to it. Basically, there was like a bunch of stuff like this Hadrus, like this Parasaurolophus, like this tree fell on it. This sauropod got eaten alive by like slowly but surely by like parasites, and like this oviraptor died while protecting its nest in a sandstorm. It was pretty sad.
4, including the most recent one, died. To add on to that,
how do you die to coronavirus? You're a dying. Listen, man. I ain't finna fall to no coronavirus. My immune system is too elite for that, alright? Y'all don't have to worry about me. I hope.
The disease recently found in ankylosaurs that causes them to be infertile, and they cannot lay any more eggs. This strange disease doesn't even have a name yet, but scientists are still trying to discover a cure for it because it could possibly destroy the ankylosaur community. And hopefully scientists can find a cure for this, because if not, it could possibly lead to a lot of devastation. But that is all I have for this episode. Thank you all for watching, and next time we'll be talking about something much bigger.
Alright.
Until then, remember, if something
chases you, moron. We're getting close to the end, guys. I am so happy. All right, let's check one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Dang it! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. Yeah, I think 26. I'm not sure. But we're almost there, guys. We're almost at the end. I am so happy. Let's get it. All right. Ooh, this is pretty lengthy. Size, smell, water, pretty lengthy, if you ask me.
In the lush jungles of Brazil, we can find the largest of all of the sauropods that InGen ever created. A massive behemoth that put even the largest sauropod to shame. This titan roamed South America in the Cretaceous period. Its name was Dreadnoughtus. Commonly misconceived as a biosyn animal, this is one of the more complete...
No, I'm pretty sure it's from Biosyn. I've seen these guys. They're pretty chill. They're pretty based. Yeah.
InGen ever created. It was made sometime in 2013, meaning it never was shown off in the park, but they did have it around for a couple of years. According to a few InGen files, the Dreadnoughtus was quite difficult to cope with, as you probably imagine a giant sauropod is.
Yeah.
They couldn't really control it very well, and whenever this animal decided to get out, it wasn't really up to anyone else. It just got out. This individual is a female, and she measures almost 89 feet in length and weighs close to 70 tons. Dreadnoughtus usually travel alone as well, which is quite unusual for a sauropod, but some people believe it's because of their massive size. They are more than capable of handling themselves.
Yeah.
So going solo is a fair option. And their gargantuan presence isn't the only thing that helps them survive. They have probably the best sense of smell that we have yet to see in a sauropod. If you remember our Chasmosaurus researcher, Sarah Harding, she did a whole study on the Dreadnoughtus' smell. According to her, this is not something InGen added, but it's actually something the Dreadnoughtus had in real life. But as for why, we really don't know. Dreadnoughtuses lived in a fairly dry environment, so they wouldn't need to really smell out any sort of plants, but some people think maybe it was to smell out water. Since water was fairly scarce back then, this would make a lot more sense for the Dreadnoughtus to have this. We asked Sarah, and she had to say this.
I think the water theory is pretty likely. If Dreadnoughtus was a solo animal, it would need to be able to sense water from far away.
While we were filming...
Yeah, I mean, that does make sense. But actually, like, it did live in a pretty dry environment, so, like, whatever food it had to find, it would probably have to sniff out as well, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Also, I'm a bit concerned. We're getting into the same timer to where, like, the original stream cut off for whatever reason. I hope the same doesn't happen, because I really want to get this done. I really don't want to, like, make another stream, like, and make it look like I'm just trying to get like people to join it again. So yeah.
This Dreadnoughtus, it seemed it was heading towards a very large river, so this is probably what the smell is used for.
Alright, come on, big girl. You believe. Keep on moving.
Oddly, though, we catch you doing something quite unusual, which is making a very small pit stop in this large dirt field. It goes over to a fairly barren part of it and starts to seemingly dig. And not just...
Okay. Oh my gosh. I thought bro that was just like about to just start letting it leak, if you know what I mean.
But it seems it's digging a nest. This confirms a few things: that there is another Dreadnoughtus in the area possibly, and that there is going to soon be more of them. Now, as cool as this seems, this could be a huge issue for the environment. No pun intended. Dreadnoughtuses are probably the leading cause right now of deforestation. Yes, you heard that right. They take out acres upon acres of forest.
Whoa.
Just by walking through them. This could cause them to be a massive nuisance, but more than anything, it caused them to be a danger to the environment. But back to the mother, it seems that she's laid out the formation for where she's going to lay her eggs.
Alright.
Upon getting closer, the Dreadnoughtus mother seems to be pretty unhappy with our presence here. She starts to aggressively snort, and suddenly she starts to attack the camera.
She ain't been attacking no camera. Ah! Oh! Ah! Oh my gosh, I keep getting violated, bro. Ah! Oh my gosh. My heart. You can't do that to me.
After taking out our drone, we send out another one fairly quickly to see what happened, and we discover that the eggs have been laid and the nest is pretty much finished. In the matter of an hour, it can't seem that the Dreadnoughtus has gone far at all, so we spend about 20 minutes searching, and lo and behold, we find it. The Mama Dread is sleeping. After laying eggs, she is probably exhausted and needs to take a break, but she'll probably stay in this area for quite a while, as sauropods are known to be pretty protective parents. As we've already learned, the Brachiosaurus is a pretty protective mom as well.
Yeah.
So, to no one's surprise, the Dreadnoughtus is not much different. With
Yeah,
that
fair.
said, I think I'm going to call it quits for this episode. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you enjoyed me covering the biggest dinosaur we know that roams the entirety of the world currently. And remember, if something chases you,
Run.
after a large flood in Missouri, a dinosaur that is very unusual pops its head into the area, a Cheilangiosaurus. We've actually mentioned this stegosaur before, whenever we were talking about dinosaurs that InGen has brought over to the States. But the Cheilangiosaurus has quite an interesting backstory to it that I feel like we should make a video about. The story starts in the year 2000, when the first record of an InGen file on the creature was found. Dr. Wu himself noted that the Cheilangiosaurus was very primitive, which makes sense considering it's one of the first known stegosaurs to have evolved. Apparently it was a pretty dumb dinosaur as well, considering Dr. Wu said it didn't really ever follow anything that they had put in with other dinosaurs, like sometimes it would literally run into fences. This led to Dr. Wu throwing out the genome entirely, similar to the previously talked about Chasmosaurus. But unlike the Chasmosaurus, the Cheilangiosaurus actually reappeared in 2008 in Jurassic World of all places. Of course, when Jurassic World fell, so did pretty much everything in it. All the dinosaurs went loose, but in 2017, a sighting of a Cheilangiosaurus happened in Missouri. Over the next year or so, more research was done, and it turned out that InGen was actually bringing over dinosaurs for a little while now to do some testing on them. And that testing is how we think we got this version of the Cheilangiosaurus that we're seeing now. This variant has a few differences from what we know the other ones had, like being a lot longer and as well as having very, very different tail spines. The Thagomizer has a few more spikes than the actual variant did in real life. It's funny because according to reports, the original Cheilangiosaurus that was in Jurassic World and even in the InGen reports actually did have the correct number of spines, so why did they change it? It's still a pretty odd mystery and no one really has any conclusive answer. However, there is a few people that have claimed that there's actually supposed to be a few other differences that didn't make it into this clone. According to one InGen employee who was actually part of the process of bringing the Cheilangiosaurus back over here, they claimed that the back legs were also supposed to have large spines on them, much like the front legs do. Speaking of which, InGen was fined up to $50,000 for actually breaking a law about bringing cloned animals over to the States.
Finally, InGen getting sued. Jeez. Hey, King Kaiju, how's that lawsuit going that you mentioned in, Wait, where did it go? Whatever.
Weirdly, this is the only time InGen has ever faced repercussions for doing this. There's been other dinosaurs that have been brought to the States, but this is the only one that has ever gotten any kind of federal attention. But aside from all that weird history, this stegosaur has a few unique things about it that you don't find in any other dinosaur. Similar to beaver's teeth, unless it actually gets chipped off, the beak of the Cheilangiosaurus actually keeps growing its entire life. It has a diet of lake weeds and other water-based plants, so it will use these plants to deteriorate its beak over time. Research has shown that they actually spend a lot of their lifetime around water, which means they're more of an aquatic stegosaur. Not only are they fairly adapted swimmers, but they can also hold their breath a lot longer than most other dinosaurs can. But the most notable thing about the Cheilangiosaurus is its very, very odd-looking tail. As much as the Thagomizers may look like they would provide some extra defense, in reality all they do is kind of wear the dinosaur down. Like I said before, our Cheilangiosaurus is a very adept swimmer, so for it to have these very long and very needless thagamizers on its tail, it actually just drags the dinosaur backward. But that's all I have on the Cheilanosaurus. Thank you guys for watching this episode of Engine Dinosaur Profile, and next time we'll be covering another raptor, but this one's a little bit more fiery. Thank you all for watching, and as always, remember, if something chases you, run.
We got me here, guys. Now y'all get to see me in all my glory.
Giant, you won't believe what I just found. Have you heard about...
Alright, let's see if there's anything I have to debunk. We're finna get more serious. Alright, normal intro.
In a dying field in Michigan, we see a pyroraptor. It's a drone.
Yeah, that looks like me.
Dinosaur, if it wasn't already obvious, but one thing that makes it stick out very much from other dinosaurs is its very, very bright red feathers.
Thank you very much. I have been like, just, you know, I have these feathers. They're beautiful. Thank you.
Pyroraptor refers to the fact that its bones were found after a fire.
Yeah.
But in real life, it seemed it had colorations that also matched his personality. Pyroraptors have been found pretty much everywhere in recent years, although it doesn't say Engine actually created this one, but instead, more evidence shows Biosyn being a Pyroraptor. Mainly, a Pyroraptor does not have any other sort of DNA in it, and Biosyn is known for having complete genomes. Although there is a few unusual things about this specimen. For example, its lack of feathering on the arms. There is a pretty simple explanation, though.
Actually, I do have feathers on my arms, so that's that's something a bit off.
It was filmed in July, and after a little bit of research was done this year, it shows that some raptors will actually lose their feathering as the seasons change. By the time winter rolls around, this Pyroraptor will actually have its feathers back. You may also know
I can confirm that's very accurate. I am a bit bare. That's why I don't really show myself much anymore.
the very large eyes the Pyroraptors have. The eyes actually help them see in two different environments. It can see very well during the day, and they also have very good night vision. Unusual for a raptor, though, the Pyroraptor has a very, very muscular jaw. Really,
I told y'all my jawline was more elite, dog. Yeah, no.
The physique of the Pyroraptor is pretty strong, considering that raptors are usually a little bit more frail and dainty.
Yeah.
Most of them are speedsters, but the Pyroraptor seems to have opted for more upfront and ahead sort of
Yeah.
thing. Think of it as most dromaeosaurs play on the defensive side, but the Pyroraptor is an offensive. But don't let any of that fool you. Pyroraptors are still incredibly fast. They can reach up to 50 miles per hour,
Yep.
which is about the same as the Velociraptor. And similar to Velociraptors, Pyroraptors also have head ornamentation. Not much is known about what it's for, but they do seem to use it as an intimidation factor. It can come in use whenever they're trying to make themselves appear bigger to larger predators. And they run into a lot of sticky situations. Like I said earlier, Pyroraptors have been found a lot of places, meaning they have to adapt to a lot of climates.
Yep.
They've been found in tundras, the driest deserts you would ever imagine, and the muddiest swamps on it, but still they survive. They've even been known to swim on occasion, and they swim better than most other theropod dinosaurs do, which makes two
I'm actually like a very good swimmer, actually. So I think you meant to say I'm like a very good swimmer. But
somewhat aquatic, but really don't seem to be. One of the weird things about the Pyroraptor is that it doesn't really seem to like packs that much. It's usually a very solitary creature. It is an
See, I'm a lone wolf, guys. You see? That's pretty accurate.
Because most other raptors like to be in groups some way or another. But the Pyros always go solo, and they seem to be pretty good at it. They've never had any trouble keeping up with any other sort of theropod, and they seem to be pretty successful, considering, like I said, they've been found pretty much everywhere. But that is all I have for this episode of Engine Dinosaur Profile. Next time we'll be covering another predator, but this one is much bigger, and much weirder too. However, until then...
Alright, guys, I may have lied. Let me hold up. I'm gonna see how many episodes we have. I may keep pushing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. I'm finna keep going until we get to one of these, and you know what, I'm just gonna try my best to keep going. As soon as it hit 10, if we can't make it to like 10 o'clock, we'll have to start it tomorrow. I'm sorry.
For watching, and as always, remember,
If something chases you, run. Yeah. I just don't like these that much. I don't like them. I don't like these ads. All right. Next.
Christ, come on, man. A smile.
This is me smiling.
You know what? I'm gonna stop it right here, guys. I'm sorry. I got some stuff to do. And sometimes, you gotta put some things before something else. So I'm gonna end the stream here. Plus, I do not really want the stream bugging out and doing whatever it did. Like in the previous one, that got cut short. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'm finna do it fairly early so I can maybe get these episodes out of the way and I won't have to worry about them much. Actually, I gotta do something tomorrow, so I'm finna do them tomorrow. So I'm sorry for like the misleading title, but I tried my best. I hope y'all can understand. So without further ado, as was kind of my catchphrase after these trains, bye bye.